Yeah. So no, okay, Buff, what you got?
So first off, what up, Contentville, powered by Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. I was listening to shout out to the Bruh's Bookshelf, by the way. Please continue doing what you're doing. I love the content. In a world of billions of podcasts, if you're looking to listen to a podcast that's different, check them out. If you're looking to get into some books and don't know where to start, check them out. You can read along with them. They break the books down in a very entertaining way, and they hardly ever agree. As a matter of fact, they read the same book and you get like 4 different perspectives on that book. So check them out. But I was listening to their episode on The Color Purple, and they mentioned, I believe it was Lenny, or one of them mentioned the strength of Celie. And so I'm not a Color Purple expert by no stretch of the imagination. I've only seen the movie like maybe 1.5 times. But when he said it, it kind of just, I really went into like a deep thought. I'm like, strength. Like she did go through a lot, but is that strength? So my question to you guys is, what is strength? Is strength dealing with something like, in this case, Celie's character, she dealt with a lot from childhood all the way up to adulthood. Is it dealing with something and being strong enough not to, what some people would say, take the easy way out and commit suicide? Or is strength like she does, I guess you could say, fight back towards the end of the movie? So what do you consider strength? Because I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, I think she was resilient. I think, she, dealt with a lot and didn't so-called take the easy way out. But if you consider suicide the easy way out, then doesn't that bring up a whole different conversation on how we look at suicide? Because every Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm hearing how suicide is not being a coward. We all go through things, and some people are not able to deal with it. So I don't know if you're able to follow me on that question, but it definitely left a lot of thinking to me. So what is strength in your opinion? Do you agree that Celie's character in that book and movie displays strength, and why?
I'll start. I listened to that episode. Really good episode.
Yeah, it was.
I think they kind of hit it on it, when they talked about, as it's easy on the outside to look at Celie as a weak character because so many people kind of shit on her, right?
And compared to Sophia's character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because Sophia was just, Sophia didn't take any shit. Yeah. But at the same time, I think there's no, just like people are different, the way they
handle it,
show their strength,
okay,
are different. So Celie, like you said, she went through a lot. She was raped as a child. Her father, who ended up being her actual stepfather, got her pregnant. So gave her kid away. She lost her child. Was forced to be married to a abusive husband, and who raped her constantly. She had kids by him, who treated her bad. She had his kids from a former marriage that treated her bad. She had to raise them and be their subordinate. Like, they talked to her like, and then when they got older and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, Celie was a rock. Everybody depended on Celie. Mister depended on her.
The kids.
Harpo, Sophia, they all came to her for advice. Suge, everybody came. As weak as Celie was, they would have crumbled without her. Even at the end of the book, that's why, like when they were all sitting around the table, it was them all coming, and that's when she kind of had her awakening, her moment where she's like, I'm over this. But she was super strong, and I think strength is there's not a single definition, because there's not a single some people who, you know, like Sophia, who, to me, at the first sign of any animosity or anything difficult, she's gonna buck up. She's not gonna let it fester. She's gonna fight for it. She's a fighter. Ceely's not a fighter. I was not putting the two together. I was having a very similar conversation with one of my siblings the other day about my mom. And I admire her strength. Shit, you miss it. My mom is one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. She's been through a lot, and her resiliency, she finds a way to find happiness. She's just not resilient. Like, every time I find her or talk to her, things that could have broke other people, I wish I had that. I mean, there's something about her. And I don't know if she's just putting on or whatever, but even now, you know, she's been divorced, she's lost her husband, she's lost everything, and things that could have broke other people. And it seems she always comes out better for it. Like, she's even happier now. And she's never been a traditional fighter. So I don't think that fight has to be the strength that you're looking for. It's just how you handle the situations that are put in front of you. And okay, I'm done.
I got you, bro.
What's it, bro?
What's
it?
I agree. I will say.
So,
I
was gonna say. So can I remix the question for you, Rozzy? And you can still answer that one. So in her situation, because every scenario I think of, because like Fertz correctly stated, strength can be shown in so many different ways. Every scenario I think of what she could have done could be explained as an example of strength. So in that same scenario, what would be considered not the opposite of strength?
Not being strong in it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bro, you had me tearing up for a second, man. But
that's a Three Brothers first.
Yeah,
by the way.
I will say, what is strength? I'll just define that first off. I think strength is the ability to endure. So, if you ever, there's so many ways that you have to endure, right? And kind of going back to that whole "we are not our ancestors" conversation, and people talk about that, right? And because they feel like they would have done something differently. And so that's why they say we're not our ancestors. Whereas I think I'm 100% my ancestors. I know when to fight, when to be quiet, when to sit back. Dave Chappelle has that skit, "When keeping it real goes wrong." And I think that's really ultimately what we talk about when you talk about, you want to be strong, so you want to be Sophia instead of Ceely, right? You want to be the boisterous one. You want to be the one to buck the system. You don't want to be the one to fight. But if you watch the movie, Sophia, or read the book, really, it's even more evident there. But Sophia was broken, right? So when you talk about the strength in it, is it just fighting all the time? For a long time after Sophia got beaten and locked up and everything, when she was that maid for a little while for the little old white lady, right? She was quiet. She knew her place, right? She had gotten into her place for a long, long time. So she got broken. They broke her, right? They never broke Ceely, right? They never broke her. Ceely was that one that she was quiet. She was gonna handle it. Right, like you talk about, everybody came to her and asked questions, and they needed her, and they leaned on her for support, and she endured it all, and she was able to show up. For like your mom, right? It's like that thing where no matter what's happening in the life, I can get raped, get hit in the head with a rock, and get up and still cook breakfast because I got to take care of this family, right? I got to make sure we're good. I'm going to endure and I'm going to live this life because I got to work inside the confines because I got to be here for everybody else, and I'm going to show up for everybody else no matter what. So I definitely agree that Celie was strong. She was probably the strongest character in that entire, a movie or book. Because when you look at it, she was the one that never changed. She was the constant. Everybody else was coming to her, moving. They were switching it up, right? You talk about what's her name? The one Harpo's my man, and her Squeaks, right? Squeaks was there, and she ended up changing. Harpo changed. She figured out that he wasn't this alpha male that his dad was trying to make him to be, and he had to change. But Sophia was that constant. And when you talk about being somebody's rock, when you talk about that strength, that's really being able to be strong and lean into who you are, and be able to fight the system from within, and be that quiet voice of reason to be able to kind of endure, because some things aren't going to change overnight, and Sophia was able to stay there that entire time. So Buff, to your question about what would have been kind of a depiction of non-strength, there would have been maybe her breaking and retreating from everything, right, and saying, I'm not going to raise these kids. It may not be suicide, but it may be like a self-imposed suicide where I know Mr. might kill me if I don't do this, but I'm just not going to do it.
There's a scene, or there's a part in the book and we talked about different characters. We talked about Sophia the fighter. When she was shaving Mister, and she was at her wit's end, right? There's a lot of people who are fed up in prison because they broke. Mm-hmm. The situation broke them, and there's a crime of passion. They had a weak moment where they couldn't take it anymore. She thought about it. She thought about slitting. And, they go, it's very descriptive of how she thought about slitting his neck. Like, she could have killed him.
Mm-hmm. In the movie, I think, was it Suge?
Yeah,
somebody
Suge,
grabbed her hand
yeah,
from
Suge
doing
ran
she
up
saw
and
it
was
in her
like,
eyes.
Yeah.
She saw it in her eyes, but she shaved him. I don't know if she shaved him anymore after that though.
Yeah, she did. You know what? You guys are right. Her strength actually broke Mister.
Mister was already broken too, though. He was broken. He was using. Yeah, he took out his.
What he learned from his father.
Yeah, he took out his, and that's why he abused Harpo. It was just from father to son, and he was taking out his abuse on Celie. He can control her.
But like even what he did at the end, I felt like that probably was a version of her breaking him. Like she proved she didn't. He convinced himself that she needed him, and she showed that once she left, she never came back, despite what he yelled at her as she was leaving. You'll be back and things like that. Mm-hmm. So great answers, man. Got some emotion out of Ferg too. That's a first for us, but. Yeah, like I think I told you, Ferg, like that's the podcast I listen to when I'm doing my yard work. So I always like that helps me look forward to doing yard work because I hate doing yard work. But I know I got a Bruh's Bookshelf episode, and as I was listening, it just made me want to think because I do like to try to break down, empty platitudes and stuff sometimes, and I wanted to just dive into that and just really have you brothers explain what strength was in general and just in that character, and I think y'all both did excellent.
Celie, I mean, and then also they talk about the historical aspect. It's easy to judge what she was going through a 2023 lens. Mm-hmm. Celie literally had little to no rights. Her father raped her. Ain't nobody mad. Her husband raped her. She was given away. Like, this is the world they were living in. So what is a uneducated black woman supposed to do? There's not much she could do. Mm-hmm. Suge was broken. Suge was everybody in that book was broken, but not even broken. I'm gonna use that word because that's
trouble.
But that's life, right? Everybody has their trauma. Suge had daddy issues. That's why she was always going from man to man. She was trying to find love from a man because she never got it from her father.
One last point. I don't think they mentioned this on the show, but I feel like the fork in the road for her character, where she could have went down that road of being broken and returning some of the stuff that Mister was doing to her, is when she told Harpo to beat Sophia. And once Sophia was mad at Celie, but she was hurt more than anything. And I think once she saw how hurt that advice had made Sophia, I think we eventually get the end character that we see in her, and she doesn't take the route of the type of stuff Mister was doing and stuff like that.
Being an enabler to all of that trauma.
Yeah,
right? I think
exactly.
that's another part of that strength, right? And kind of an example of where she could have not been strong, right? It's like, oh, I'm just going to enable this and continue this cycle. She broke that cycle, like for that and so just another, depiction of that strength that she had.
Yeah, I think another thing was when she found out there was people out here that loved her, like because everybody was depending on her. She was just like taking the brunt of everybody's shit, like as close as she got to with Suge, who actually, essentially became a lover of hers. This chick is hidden. This is your husband's side chick. Like you bathe this. You took care of her. You cooked for your husband's side chick. Like he ain't trying to hide it. He as giddy as hell. And you ain't never seen this dude that happy. And at the end of the day, everybody, you can start seeing their dependence, and everybody was dependent on her. And when she found out that she still had, when she took the letters of the turnaround, when she started finding those people that loved her and cared about her. So check on your strong friends, show that love. That's what gave her the strength. Because when she found out she still had a family in Africa, wherever the hell they were, Africa, they were the whole continent. But no, it's definitely one of the best books I've read, and I probably need to read it again before the new movie comes out, which I will be going to see.